Let me tell you the tale of Thalrik Emberforge, a dwarven fire mage of unwavering resolve, whose breath was choked by the heat of betrayal as much as by the blazing rivers of Paraxis. In the sizzling heart of the Fire Kingdom, a land where pillars of black glass stabbed the blood-red sky, Thalrik toiled in the lineage of his ancestors, keepers of the sacred flame that bound their kingdom, both shield and scourge. It was said among the whispering embers that every stone in Paraxis bore the thumbprint of a god. Rivers of molten gold snaked through the chasms, used not just to forge steel, but to feed the very soul of the realm. And it was in these halls, thundering with heat and the roar of the eternal forge, that Thalrik kept the ancient balance. He would often mutter to himself, "If fire is the spirit, then duty is the vessel." Those words anchored him, especially after the death of his mentor, old Magra Stonehand, whose laughter could make the coals dance. Yet beneath the unending fever of flame, something treacherous writhed. A rumor, at first, that certain brothers of the Forge, a select few whose eyes burned with more hunger than duty, had begun to court forbidden magics. Whispers of night-forged pacts and the thirst for power sharp enough to split obsidian. It wasn't long before the news erupted like a cracked magma vent. Unauthorized sigils had been carved into sacred stone, and the heart flame of Pyraxis pulsed with a new, wrathful rhythm. Thalrik's world, stoked by centuries of tradition, stood on the verge of combustion. Standing before the council, bronze beard singed and brow furrowed, he declared, "To lose our flame is to lose our soul. But what if the flame itself betrays us?" He couldn't say what unsettled him more, the threat of rebellion, or the traitor's hand that touched so close to his own heart. That night, Thalrik traced the runes of his ancestors across his arm, seeking guidance. The shifting red glow revealed secrets and scars. Within him warred pride and heartbreak, for one of those leading the insurrection bore a name he could not forget. Garrick, his younger brother by bond, once coal-side and confidant. "Garrick," Thalrik whispered, voice raw as smoldering cinders. "How did we come to this?" In that grim silence of the forge, his oath rang louder than any hammer blow. "Blood or fire, I will not let us burn." The rebellion struck at dawn. Red-robed conspirators shattered the obsidian gates with torrents of wild, biting flame, fire untamed by dwarven tradition. Thalrik marshaled the loyalists, his staff, Emberbrand, flaring with ancestral power. The air quivered as radiant glyphs unfolded, funneling the wildfire back upon itself. Yet with every pulse of his heart, he felt the kingdom's flame resisting him, a rebellion beneath rebellion. "Do you not remember me?" Thalrik cried to the flames, grasping at the heat. "I have tended you since childhood, suffered for you, bled for you." Yet the fire roared wild, driven by insidious, stolen magic. Down in the sanctum where the heart flame danced, he confronted Garrick, whose eyes were now pits of molten gold. "You taught me to revere the fire, Thalrik," Garrick spat, flames swirling around him. "But you never let it grow. Our kingdom withers in tradition's shackles." Thalrik's heart fractured in that molten chamber, every old memory searing. What if he is right? What if I've become a warden of ashes? But another voice shuddered through, "Legacies are meant not to bind, but to guide." "Is it freedom you seek, or simply chaos?" he demanded. Garrick only laughed, a sound like a firestorm. In those final moments, as the sanctum shook, Thalrik drew forth the ancient secret of the Emberforges, a binding of soul and fire. He cast aside anger, letting memory and hope blaze within. The flames recognized his spirit, the song of every ancestor who wore the Emberforge name. The chamber filled with light so pure that even Garrick's wild inferno faltered. "I would rather be cindered in truth than rule in lies," Thalrik thought, sending the fire surging not to destroy, but to cleanse. Garrick was stripped of forbidden power, cast to his knees in a rain of harmless sparks. The rebellion withered. The heart flame brightened, its pulse truer than ever before. Yet victory was not without scars. Garrick, broken but alive, wept into Thalrik's arms. In the days that followed, Thalrik was named Keeper of Paraxis, its flame rekindled, and its people reminded that the truest fire burns for all. Even when the flames turn against you, Thalrik confided in the quiet that followed, remember who you are when the embers cool. For in the end, every fire must be guided, not caged. And so, as obsidian spires gleamed under a dawn both new and well-worn, the tale of Thalrik Emberforge was etched into legend. But tell me, adventurer, in the flicker and fever of betrayal, what would you have done? If you enjoyed this tale of fire and loyalty, let your curiosity smolder. Subscribe and join us at the hearth for more legendary stories from the world of Dungeons and Dragons. Like if you'd share a drink with Thalrik himself and suggest your next hero in the comments. Who knows? Perhaps your tale will become the next legend told by firelight.